good weather. Welcome, this is Dove Weather. I am your Dove AP coming at you solo. We are going to talk about a couple of different things on this episode. You and I want to hear a call and response, okay? We are going to talk about marriage, spies, real world spies, London, and we're going to talk about the power that comes out of heteronormativity and how that could transcend geopolitics, the treacherous nature of intelligence work, and of course, temptation by another. Because we're talking about the movie Black Bag, or as I've been thinking about it, Scenes from a Marriage, Black Bag. If you are new to Black Bag, I'm going to give you a quick rundown here. I would suggest you go watch the movie. It's very short. So the plot of Black Bag goes a little bit something like this. England has a super weapon that is stolen by Russians. Those dastardly Russians, they're everywhere. This weapon can turn any nuclear power plant into a puddle, and that would magically kill hundreds of thousands of people. I am a nuclear scientist. That is factual information. There are 5 spies from His Majesty's Secret Service on the crosshairs. Will a bullet welcome them? No. Because Black Bag is not that type of spy movie. It's not an action-packed spy movie. It's not that Mission Impossible. It's not that James Bond. This is about the power of marriage. Black Bag is a spy movie, and it's about the magical, wonderful, powerful aspects of heteronormative marriage. It does it. It really does it. Every moment of every minute of every scene, it all points back to marriage. It all points back to the 2 main characters and how their sensual, incredibly well operated, truthful marriage is the way to combat everything negative in this world. The first spy, the main spy, the one of the 2 that we follow in this is George Woodhouse. He is played by Michael Fassbender. He's kind of the walking, talking truth detector. Nothing gets past him. Not even you on the highway. If the truth exists, he will find it. He's very commonly described as a dog, like in this movie. He is gonna sniff out the truth. He's gonna plant his teeth down, and he will not let go until the truth is down his gullet. And George Woodhouse, he gets informed by one of the Skarsgård, Gustav Skarsgård, that there's a mole that knows about this super weapon and is gonna do some dastardly things with it. There are 5 moles, and they are all connected to Georgie, if you're close to him, like I am. 4 are his colleagues, and one of them is his dear wife, Catherine, played by Cate Blanchett. She's my wife too. Georgie sets out to find these moles with a stony sense of duty that sometimes can be seen as neurodivergent doggedness. Like there are so many line deliveries in this where I'm like, is this guy supposed to be like a hot shot, such a stone cold bastard that nothing gets Nothing can face him. He could see the end of the world in front of him, and not even a smile of knowing doom will enter his face. And the truth is, no, he's supposed to be a full blank slate that stays a blank slate. Except he's also like the perfect like truth finder. And there are moments where I'm just like, this is just a neurodivergent king working in his hyperfixation, being able to provide the king with the intelligence needed to keep the Western world safe. and I have a couple of line deliveries here that I'll play for you, just so you can see that there is this imagery that is conjured with this stoic intelligence that he starts from minute 1 all the way to minute 93, even past the credits. But the question is the wife the target? Is Cate Blanchett the target? And what is he gonna do to that? What's he gonna do to her? Cate Blanchett's great in this. Her character, Kate, is this big, smart, like very fancy woman. She's always wearing incredibly expensive looking clothes that are draped over her perfectly to provide the sense that, oh, you're not just in the same tax bracket. The last 8 generations of your family combined aren't in the same tax bracket. And this is done for a handful of things. One of them being this sense that she has money problems. It's almost a little bit of a front, or she has a deep internal need to have financial security. I mean, who amongst us? Who amongst us? And Cate Blanchett's great in this. These are the 2 main characters that are gonna prop up the whole movie. Everything revolves around them, including the son. There are many scenes where they're just kind of not just ogling each other or like fondling each other on a bed. It's every scene where one of them asks the other to do something. The response is usually, let me slowly walk up to you, plant you a kiss, and then give a 1-sentence answer. And give a 1-word answer. And this happens a lot. Here, let me play you one clip here. This is right before one of the first set pieces. And this is Cate Blanchett. She's getting ready for that set piece, which is a dinner party to scope out which one of the 4 colleagues is the mole. And while she's getting dressed, feels something in her nape, some eyes looking at her.
I can feel when you're watching me.
Sorry.
I like it.
I mean, that's the level of like back and forth that they have. It's always just, I'm with you. I want you. Everything about you is my... the air I breathe. And it works. Honestly, it works. Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett like sell this level of adult sensuousness. It's never a crass sense of Michael Fassbender's about to close this door and blow out the back walls of Cate Blanchett. It's never like that. It really is just like, I like when you look at me, baby. Or and so let's talk about the other possible moles. One of them is Clarissa DeBose, who's played by Marissa Abel. She is effectively a horny woman that serves as nothing more than a kind of a fantasy that a lot of folks that write these kinds of movies probably want, which is a young woman that is ravenous, that is barking for some old man cock, and and that's kind of it. That's kind of her whole character. She's a very thin character. She gets cheated on. She cheats. She also works satellites. She's very good at clicking away at a keyboard while images enhance. And she is partnered with Freddie Smalls, the overlooked, overworked, oversexed bagman to George Woodhouse. He's played by Tom Burke. And this character is a little conniving, a little sweaty on the palms. He wants a lot of things. Money, power, respect. Except he doesn't get any of those. He is overlooked for a promotion that George got, so he's got a little bit of a vendetta. Is that gonna come back? Maybe. And does he have money? Maybe. It all feels like every single one of these people have like a Swiss bank account with illegal money dumped into it. And he is one of the four possible moles. The other two is also a couple, and that is Dr. Zoe Vaughn, who is played by Naomi Harris. And her thing is that she's religious. She's a Catholic. She's also a therapist. So she is like a double whammy of I'm here to help and I'm also here to help. Does she help? No. No, she does not help. She does not help anyone here, including herself. And she's getting down and dirty with Colonel James Stokes, who is this like very handsome, well-dressed, hotshot former soldier that is now working in military intelligence. And he's effectively an eager puppy dog for George. There are many scenes where he's just walking up to George and being like, I have more information for you. Like he's a basset hound with a mallard on his mouth. And he's acted very well by Regina Page. All of these actors are great. I really enjoyed seeing all of them. Even when it was just like, oh, I'm going to just verbally batter my partner for a little bit. Which happens a lot in this movie. Like this movie is propped up in such a way where George and Catherine are the perfect couple, and they have foils with the other two couples just to show that, yeah, they're shit. The other couples that aren't able to keep it straight, they're always gonna fumble and become broken-hearted due to their inequities. And I'm hitting back on this every single time. This is a movie about marriage. This is a movie about two rich, white, powerful people just having a great marriage. I hope you're here for the marriage talk. This is the marriage cast, after all. So from there, George has to sniff out the mole. And these are the main characters. These are the main players. There are two set pieces that revolve around a dinner party where things get tense, things get a little bit naughty, and people overshare information that leads directly to their downfall. Now, George has to work his way through these moles, his marriage, possible global instability, in these dinner parties to save lives. Can he do it? Well, I'm not gonna get into the every single piece, every single note of this movie. Like I said, go watch it. Go watch it. It's 90 minutes. In the time your kettle takes to warm up, you could probably watch this twice. So I want to talk a little bit of the production here. This is a fairly small movie with a budget of $50 million. This is shot in London with replica townhouses made in studio, and they look great. Every single interior just looks so nice. The dining room is this very luscious setting that feels inviting but incredibly dark. And George and Catherine love to light it with candles. So many candles. And a chandelier up top that just provides enough light for you to make out the face of someone, but not really anything else. It's a very dark place, but it's England, it's an overcast city. I say that as like I'm entering the second month in a row with overcast weather in Chicago. These homes are nice, but I mean they're not my style. It's not punk. It's not punk in any way. There's no gamer activity. I don't think George Woodhouse has a Steam Deck that he pulls out from a very expensive drawer to play for 1 or 2 hours in a late Thursday evening to chill. So it's nice. It's just not for me. This movie was an idea that was jogged over decades by the writer David Koepp. They really fleshed out during the 2023 WGA strike. Koepp sent his work to Steven Soderbergh, who is the director, cinematographer, editor of this movie, and they worked it out a little bit more and started production mid-2024. And this was released just a handful of weeks ago. So this was quick. A very quick production. Small budget, quick production, small cast, only really a handful of external shooting locations. And all of this is done for the sake of just saying this is a little movie. A little film. Steven Soderbergh, he's got decades-long career, right? He's a movie powerhouse. Ocean's 11, banger. Contagion, banger. Logan Lucky, banger. Aaron motherfucking Brockovich, banger. With a couple of stinkers here and there. Haywire. Haywire. Haywire was not good. It was not good. And fuck that turf in it. And this is one of those little movies that Steven Soderbergh does in between larger movies. He really brought in his specialty. Very casual, very confident scenes with characters that are big enough for you to be like, oh, okay, this person's filling up the room, and relatable enough to be like, hey, maybe I'm Danny Ocean. Maybe me and 10 other fellas, we could maybe we could get into some real good shit. Things overheard at the Equinox sauna. The writer's David Koepp, and he is also a guy with a deep roster. He wrote Jurassic Park, a bunch of Jurassic Parks, the good ones and the bad ones. Mission Impossible, the OG, and he also wrote Spider-Man 2002, and he also did Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and Dial of Destiny, which are 2 movies that I have not seen and refuse to see. You would have to torture me to have me see those movies, because I am not interested. I like the original run and I'm good with that. This movie is getting a lot of good reviews. Every movie reviewer is giving it its flowers for how easy it is to watch, how it's like a really like adult focused movie. It's a spy thriller. So much praise. So much praise for the writing, the acting, directing, and set pieces. And they're right. They're right to do so. I mean, the craft is visible throughout all of this. There is no moment where you can't see a little bit of Steven Soderbergh's experience on screen. I mentioned the candles earlier. And the lighting. Every single piece of lighting in this movie has so much bloom. So much bloom that a window in dusky, overcast London has a little bit of an effect that the light reaches through the window, past the window borders, and it touches your nape while you're clicking away in your satellite cubicle. And at first viewing, I was a little like, why are you doing this, man? Why are you doing this? I don't need to have this much bloom. I feel like I have eye problems. I feel like I need to go see the doctor. And after revisiting some scenes, it almost gives this impression that the light will always reach into the darkness. And because George is this guy who doesn't like liars. Let me hit you with this.
I don't like liars.
He doesn't like liars. He's the walking truth detector. He is the light also. He walks around just putting in his flashlight into the darkness and finding the truth to bringing it out. He doesn't like liars.
I don't like liars.
And the light almost has this feeling that, yeah, it's being reinforced just with this lighting. I don't know how specifically if like Steven Soderbergh like decided on that. I mean, he was the director of photography for this. He actually does this like honestly very sweet thing where he uses his parents as pseudonyms. He uses his father's name for as a pseudonym for the director of photography, and he uses his mother's name for the editing. Steven Soderbergh's like a very like director. He wants to be in there and pick away at his idea in every single aspect of it, which I think is cool. So I don't know if he like chose to make these lights bloom that much as to reinforce the theme that George is this walking truth detector, but whatever. I like it. One of the reasons why people talk a lot about this movie and its dialogue and how well it's made, and they're right to do so. Not to glaze too much. Is this spy movie that is set directly on two dinner parties. And these dinner parties provide a sense that truth can be pulled out from just normal everyday interaction, which, I mean, sure. It reminds me a lot of like the people online that are like, I'm a body language expert, and just by watching this person, I can tell that they lack the confidence to walk up to this woman and ask for her number. And so if he just puffed out his chest a little bit and walked as if he had a very filled diaper and waddled over, he would be able to get any girl's number. Like, no. The truth is not just something you could see off of people's interactions, but whatever. George is super powerful like that. He's a super spy. And in the first set piece, this dinner party, he we get a glimpse of his backstory where he outed his own father, Paul Woodhouse, as a cheater at a dinner party. And he played an audio of him cheating to discredit him and get him fired. Whoops. As the movie says, real Oedipal. I think, though, that this right here is also like a great moment where like there is a lot of tension, but Steven Soderbergh and David Cope like really hit some humor. There's this line that I really like.
That must have been deeply traumatic. How old were you?
37.
That's Dr. Vaughn asking George Woodhouse how he felt about it, and he's just like, yeah, I was a full-grown adult. And Michael Fassbender was like in his late 40s during the recording of this. So it's just like this just happened. Like he like it was almost nothing to him. It sounds like it was nothing, and maybe he didn't care at all. And this is also one of the lines where that like sense of neurodivergency comes in. It's just like yeah, I'm just a very truthful person. And I will say this is where this set piece and the dialogue and the scene are a little masturbatory, honestly. Because the dialogue is fun to hear, but sometimes when you spend just a third second thinking about it, it feels like it is set purely for the audience to hear and immediately slide off the brain. And so when you think about it for 3 seconds, you're like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Why is this guy talking like this? And this line really, like, I believe, like, sets this scene and shows that the dialogue has its own faults.
I have a game. We go round the table, and each of us makes a resolution. The way you might at New Year.
It's like, okay, this is a dinner party, and we're just going to do this weird little game from a guy who looks humorless. It looks outside. It looks like he's never had fun in his fucking life. And in fact, his idea of fun is to very quietly on a cold day go fishing in a pond. That is what he does. That is probably the biggest sense of fun he has. He is not sitting down and playing some Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, and he is not seeing the glory of the God Emperor shine onto the arch enemy. Like, he's not. He's out there fishing, and both fishing for fish and fishing for fishiness. And there's a lot of this dialogue, honestly. A lot of this dialogue just feels like it washes over you, and that's it. Nothing. It doesn't stick to you at all. I think some of this type of dialogue is maybe why the movie feels fast, not even just because of the runtime. It's because once you hear the sentence and another very similar sounding sentence with information background, but ultimately no emotional depth, like you just kind of like move on. You move on. You're like, oh, okay. George and Catherine are talking about how much they love each other again, and it vacillates in between these three things: fun, snappy dialogue, weird little dialogue that doesn't connect with you in an emotional basis, and then Catherine and George just getting saucy with each other. Like, there's this line right here after the dinner party.
I would do anything for you.
Would you?
Yes.
Anything at all?
Yes.
Would you lie?
Yes. But never to you.
That's sweet.
Would you lie to me?
Only if I had to. Would you kill for me, George?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
That is a longer clip, and I have edited down a little bit to remove some of the pregnant pauses. Even so, it is a very quick back and forth where the emotion is being told versus really like expressed. Catherine asks George, "Would you lie for me?" Which is like the ultimate taboo in George's heart, right? Would you step into the ultimate taboo that you hold so dear that you would never express for me, Georgie? He's like, yeah, for you, baby, anything. For you, baby, I'll take out the trash. Now, I'm not saying that this is like a negative or anything, right? Like, I just find the craft interesting here. There is no piece of this dialogue that isn't about, in this movie, that isn't about George and Catherine's marriage. I read this interview with Cope and done by IndieWire. He just comes clean and says that, yeah, every scene leads back to marriage. The first scene is George learns that his wife might be a mole. The second scene is George and Catherine being saucy. The third scene is the 4 possible moles making a game plan before the dinner party. The fourth scene is the dinner party. In my estimation, the 2 scenes that move beyond the service of marriage is this scene later in the movie where Dr. Vaughn and Colonel Stokes break up. Which is a fun scene, which has this like snappy like back and forth again and again. And then the other scene is one where like some Russians get droned to death. Like, it's one thing to point these out, right? It's one thing. Any parrot who's taken a Media 101 class could say this. That's why it requires at least a Doberman that graduated magna cum laude level of reasoning to be able to understand why, or like to look at the like outline of reasoning that everything in this movie leads back to marriage. And that's because the lead creators, Steven Soderbergh and David Cope, are both 60-year-old wife guys. And they're happy to be that way. They love their marriage. They love it. And I'm happy for them too. There's just something to be said about like, well, this type of movie and this type of like a performance in the time of polycules and the fraying of martial prowess in the West and the degradation of the stability that heteronormative marriage provided for decades before, and especially in the degrowth of the institutional power within the Anglophone world. Like, there's something to be said about this, right? Why is this movie about spies and marriage being pumped out in 2025? And this movie did not get a lot of love out in the theaters. I didn't watch it in the theaters. I waited until I could sit my booty down and watch it on my couch with a little bit of wine, some cheese, because I wanted to keep it classy. I was watching Cate Blanchett act. I am going to be classy. There is something to be said about this. When the U.S. is is actively trying to separate itself from the larger economic structure found around the world through tariffs or through the demolition of soft power like in US aid. And look. It's not like if I'm a fan of these agencies. I happen to see that they are, well, they kind of fit within the larger scope that the United States and the other Anglophone worlds, like Britain also does a lot of soft power work. When these institutions are being defunded or being scrapped or deboned in such a way that they might as well not even stand up. They can't stand up. What is this movie about? Like, is this really a spy thriller? Like, a lot of reviewers are talking about how it's not a spy thriller. Or how it's a domestic spy thriller. Because it all takes place in England and in Wales. And how it's about this marriage and some of the colleagues of this married couple. Like, there's no real like international set pieces where George Woodhouse is rappelling down the Burj Dubai. This is a small movie in a bigger way. Small movie in a bigger way. It's a small movie in a bigger way than I thought. Because it's not just a Steven Soderbergh little movie that he did quick with his boys. It's also not a movie that's reflective of the time or the moment. And in 2024, some of this stuff was already in conversation. That's why this movie is really just about marriage. David Cope says it in that IndieWire article. He's like, yeah, I wanted the marriage to withstand. You know, I'm married. I love my marriage. So I wanted that message rather than a painful, horrible breakup or one that of them shoots the other one. Everything about this movie leads back to that. And everything about this spy thriller is so small that it can really only be about the marriage of two people. And that marriage is so in everything like leads directly into it. There's a moment where a lot of these people are outed as liars and cheaters. These 4 possible moles are all banging other people. They're dropping their DNA from the Bombay doors, or they're getting it nasty at different hotels. And of course, George Woodhouse hates that shit. And so he's usually the one that tells people, hey, I know you're cheating. This possible mole, this horny ass woman of Clarissa Dubose, at one point gets confronted by George at her home. Very, very nice too. Not as nice as George's and Catherine's. And she, at a certain point, says, hey, you're here at night talking about my relationship. I'm not saying no, but are you really doing this? And he immediately jumps into, oh, well, you're the woman that does the satellites. I need access to the satellites, so I need you to do that. And she hits him with the immortal line.
For a minute there, I thought you were human.
Same, sister. Same. George is not human, right? But because he is like this infallible truth knower and truth teller, he gets to drop those lines. He gets to like confront people in their cheating. And that's also one of the other things about this. The vessel might be a spy movie, but the material really is how much do I love my wife and how much my wife loves me, and how everybody else doesn't understand that. And really, the power of marriage and the power of truthfulness is all you need. That's all you need. In that same conversation that Clarissa and George have, the movie starts hitting its themes again, and Clarissa gets puppeted to say,
When you can lie about everything, when you can deny everything, how do you tell the truth about anything?
How do you? How does Steven Soderbergh and David Cope want us to see this? What is their intention here? To just be truthful? Damn, I've never tried that. I never tried to just be truthful to my wife. Maybe I'll do that. The more you think about this movie, the less and less exciting it gets. And the movie's already not exciting. It really is just multiple reverse shots of two people yapping at each other, talking about each other's infidelity, and being reminded that George and Catherine are not are the most perfect version of the marriage. This feels honestly so regressive sometimes. So regressive. These people are killers. George and Catherine are killers. They murder people and they're happy to murder people. Some of this is just convoluted in a way that it can only happen if there's no major idea being explored here, other than just, hey, I love my wife. The Vessel is the spy movie, right? There's a real world spy shit that happens and that doesn't need to be seen as anything other than a misplacement of funds and the skill of talented people for the sake of the greed of others, which I'm gonna get into in a moment here. I just wanna take a moment here to talk about maybe my favorite part of this movie, and it involves Clarissa and George. George, later on in the movie, he's close to sniffing out who's the mole, and he's digging. He takes his little paws and he is digging around, and so he busts out the polygraph to really look into the soul of someone and see if they're lying. And once they start lying, well, a little graph pops in and out that says, yeah, this motherfucker's lying. I think I skipped my polygraph classes in college. But at a certain point, Clarissa tells a lie. She says, yeah, my name's not Beatrice. My middle name's not Beatrice. And George is like, well, I mean, your name is Beatrice. Your middle name is Beatrice. I got your info right here. And he confronts her. And he says, have you read this book on how to evade detection in a polygraph? And Clarissa's like, Daddy, yes. And at that point, George hits her with the immortal line,
Will you please release your sphincter muscle?
Sure thing, George.
It's these lines are so much better than the battering of, I know you're a cheater. Well, you're cheating on me. This line is immaculate. It's so beautiful. I love it. I love it so much. I'm gonna play it again. I'm gonna play it again.
Will you please release your sphincter muscle?
Sure thing, George.
Now, there's just something I want to point out here. After George is like, "Will you release your sphincter muscle?" There's some Foley that happens. It's a little bit of a leathery crack sound, and then Clarissa is like, "Sure thing, George. I'm gonna play it again. Pay attention." After George says his line, just pay a little attention here.
Will you please release your sphincter muscle?
Sure thing, George.
I just that kind of like leathery crack sound. It's this girl is not just horny for George. She's very actively like looking for like some old man dick. She is providing some info. The truth that George is looking for is that Clarissa's got this gorilla grip anus where she can not just evade a polygraph, she can grasp onto the leather of the chair that she's sitting in. And when she relaxes, there is an actual sound to it. And she's like, "This could be all yours, Papi." It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. And like, so many of these characters tempt each other, like, just casually. As if that's like going to like cause like George to just like like disappear into the temptation of a Clarissa. And I just find it so funny. I just find it so funny because at the end of the day, once again, these two lead creators are 60-year-old men. Whether or not they're putting themselves onto Georgie here, I can tell you that there is just something to be said about old men being horny for young women. I mean, surprise, 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 surprise. I think that I busted my ass laughing. I unclenched my sphincter and my couch like sighed in relief when that line came in. I want to end here. This movie is about marriage. It's about marriage, right? And the final real line to this is delivered by Catherine, by Cate Blanchett, when the mole is found. She says,
But don't ever fuck with my marriage again.
to the other 3 possible moles. I won't spoil it here. Go watch it. And she just says that. Don't ever fuck with my marriage again. I mean, hilarious. Thank you. Thank you, Cate Blanchett. I guess that is a spoiler that like Cate Blanchett's not one of the moles. Whatever. Who cares? I felt a little bit of like satisfaction watching this movie because it's well made, right? There was this lingering feeling though. This feeling that there is a clear detachment to the current reality. And so I was reminded of this scandal in England about, well, spies and what they're doing and the type of marriage and love that they quote unquote have. Since the 80s, there was this group in the Metropolitan Police, which is the big police force that covers the ever-growing London area. This group is called Special Demonstration Squad, SDS for short. They're like real military intelligence, part of like MI5 or some shit. the people in this movie are like part of MI6. And am I interested in knowing the exact split? No. And this group did some undercover work. These are just police. They did some undercover work in more than 1,000 political groups from the 60s to 2010, or around 2010. And about 140 undercover cops spent years in these groups, monitoring them, infiltrating them. And do you want to guess the type of groups there are that they were spying on? Were they dastardly Russians looking to acquire ransomware, malware that could destroy nuclear facilities? No. Was it a group of, let's say neo-Nazis looking to commit murder of racial minorities in England? No. These were mostly left-wing and progressive groups. Of course. You know, being a spy is expensive. I mean, Clarissa didn't shoot up the satellite herself, and she didn't write the code to be able to like maneuver it, right? George Woodhouse doesn't have his own polygraph in his room to be able to tell people to let go of that sphincter. And Catherine has some money problems, and she wants to live in a nice town home in London. All of this is expensive. It's very expensive to be a spy. So when you have that level of like expense, there usually needs to be a reason for that. Why is it so expensive? And what is it in service to? Well, if it's in service to, I don't know, making a more equitable world where people get everything that they need, food, shelter, a good time, having enough free time to be able to have a vacation, like that's really not gonna make the people that give you the money super excited, because they already do all of that, and they already don't. I mean, I shouldn't say they do all that. They have access to everything that they want, and what they want is more of what they have: money. So of course these cops are gonna spy on left-wing and progressive groups. One of these weirdos is named Bob Lambert. This undercover cop infiltrated environmental and animal rights groups in the 80s. Damn. Oh fuck, you definitely don't want to be pro-environment. You gotta make sure you police the people that do that. You don't want people to want to live in a world where tornadoes are more common. You want to make sure that people that are angry that oil is spilled and can be spilled and is proudly spilled by conglomerates for money-saving reasons. You want to make sure that they can do it. Lambert took the identity of a 7-year-old that died of a congenital heart defect in 1959. This was a common practice to take the identities of dead children for these fake identities. They call it the Jackal Run, after a fictional assassin. If you ever saw the Day of the Jackal, either the movie or the TV show that came out last year. And they would spy on these left-wing people, and he started a relationship with a woman known as Jackie, a pseudonym, I believe, that lasted years. You see, the deployment for these spy cops was about 4 years, which is a pretty short time. They had to infiltrate these groups and like develop credibility quick. And you can do that if you start a relationship. So he started a relationship with Jackie. That means that like you have another person that is kind of on your corner. They collect information and they can help spread information. Now, I don't know for certain why he chose to do this, because he was also like philandering around, but he specifically chose Jackie, and Jackie believed that Lambert was a real person that was there to advocate for the same things that she advocates for. So she would share information with him. And this relationship would also be a big indicator for everyone around to say, I am here to stay. And that would also be a good reason to bring them in deeper into organizations. So if the organizations are just advocating for like unions and racial minorities and like environmental justice, it's not like if he's infiltrating some group of people that are gonna bring out Cthulhu and usher in the end of the world. No, it's people that are saying, hey, me and my fellow co-workers deserve a little more money and some more time off. And because these groups are peaceful, by deed and by word, a lot of these groups are anti-violence, anti-war. It's up to Lambert and other agitators like Lambert to increase the heat. And he did it. He is accused of setting off a device that cost $340,000, pounds of damage. And I mean, he was a cop. He was a cop. Like, why would he do this? He's a cop. I don't know if he did it. No one knows. None of the reporting that I read led directly to a conclusion there, but he's accused of it. Because Lambert is a spy and not a real activist focusing on the organizational goals. He left after a couple of years. His deployment was done. And he left the wake of damage. Jackie being lied to is one of them. She was left wondering what happened to this guy that she liked and why he had to disappear to Spain after this arson attack. And she lived worried. She lived worried not just because she liked Lambert, but because she had his son. Bob Lambert had a child with Jackie, and he left when that son was 2 years old. And Jackie was charged with the task of raising this child by herself. Easy, right? So easy, right? Lambert could have left because whatever, it's just raising a child. So fucked up, man. So fucked up. This is like one real person. One real spy. I mean, Clarissa said, how can you be truthful when no one is truthful? Well, honestly, like, how can you be an asshole when everyone else around you isn't one? The real spies didn't worry about that. There's one thing to note here, because Jackie never knew the real person, Bob Lambert. And Bob Lambert's like his real name. Not his pseudonym, because that's derived from a dead child. The real man is Bob Lambert. Jackie never knew him. And so Jackie could never actually give consent. Every night spent with Lambert was assault. There's no other way of describing it. There's no real George and Catherine. Spies don't spend time dealing with evil factions attempting to bring about the destruction of normalcy. That's generally a fiction. Overwhelmingly, people are kind and friendly. There are factions that will bring pain to others, of course. That has existed since day one, and that will continue to exist. There is no way to look at someone and make them into a perfect human being that will never cause damage to another person. There's no way of doing that. Anyone that advocates for that is a fool. It's a fool and interested in actually damaging or dominating you. Honestly, there will always be a strain of harshness in society. It's just about how we treat that. It's about how we move forward with that. I mean, spies are on the side of the people that actually bring pain to others. At least the spy cops are. I mean, the movie Black Bag upholds marriage as a stronghold in a corrupt world, able to swing past the treacherousness of the modern geopolitical space. In reality, romantic love is another tool and acts in the heart of people used to prevent a more equitable world. For the pain that Bob Lambert delivered onto the people of England, he got a promotion. He moved up the special demonstration squad where he monitored the family campaign of a murdered black teenager, Stephen Lawrence. Go read about Stephen Lawrence. He was attacked by 5 people. 5 people, some of them being children, minors. And read about how little justice he got. It's fucked up. Now, this movie is about marriage. It's about spies. It's really about heteronormativity. and some of the people that watch this understand that both the reviews, but one of the reviews I don't want to highlight here just to end it comes from Plugged In by Focus on the Family, Enemies of the Pod. The guy that reviewed this points directly to how powerful this marriage is. He says that they're committed to their marriage. He says this in the positive section of things. And he says also that intelligence agents work to prevent that device, the super weapon, to be used, which would result in the death of innocent people. Yeah, true. It would. In this fictional movie, that would absolutely do. And the final line I really want to read to you about this review is, if you squint, you can even glimpse a pro-marriage, pro-monogamy message amid the deception and guile. If you squint. So I mean, to me, the Doberman, the graduated magna cum laude. I understand very well that this is about upholding a strict sense of what it means to have marriage in a time where that shit is not really available and not really the benefit that it used to be. And in reality, that smokescreen of heteronormativity is also the used to bring real pain that people have felt in the real world in England. I mean, Black Bag's a good movie. Go watch it. It's fun. Just as soon as you're done watching the Black Bag, the abyss that it is, and you look outside of it, just reminded that maybe the abyss is preferable sometimes. Dove weather. Am I making this movie, like this podcast, such a downer sometimes? Maybe, but sometimes you really like deal with whatever comes and the difficulties of that, because at some point you want to make sure that you get ready and you're able to.
Will you please release your sphincter muscle?
Sure thing, George.
Because it isn't just pain and like suffering out there. You'll be able to like release your sphincter muscle here and there. Well, with that, thank you for listening to Dove Weather. You can find us everywhere at Dove Weather. Go to doveweather.com for some links. Give us a 5-star review in the comments. Tell us what you think. And I'll see you soon. Ciao.